Are you holding on to any guilt or remorse regarding a commitment you made in a previous relationship? Because if you are, that state of consciousness remains active and it's affecting your relationships now. Because if anything unfavorable remains active, it is going to get produced in your reality. So today I wanted to remind you of how you can use revision to heal any commitments that you made to another person that were not fulfilled and release yourself from any guilt that you might still be feeling. So stick around. My name is Hedley and you are the star of your movie. If you would like support stepping more into that starring role, I am available for one-to-one law of assumption coaching. I also have a free 21-day set yourself up with the ultimate self-concept course, because the self-concept is the ultimate story that you want to be telling. It is the cause of your reality. So that's where we want to start. If you'd like support with any of that, you'll find the details in the box below this video or at my website youaretheone.com.au. But for now, let's get into it. So I am on a bit of a love theme at the moment, if you haven't already figured out, but I think it has something to do with this background, which I am just loving. It feels very romantic and it's in the love vibe. So that's what we're doing. That's what's inspiring me. And today I wanted to talk about commitments that we make that may not have worked out. A marriage, ooh, that's a big one. If you have been married and then you have been divorced and you haven't revised that commitment that you made, you may still have some of that, like a feeling of distrust or not trusting yourself and then not being able to trust others because you were not able to fulfill that commitment. Because marriage is forever, right? When you get married to somebody, you're marrying them forever. The contract is forever. It's insane the way it's set up, but that's essentially what it is. Of course, marriage was just a financial arrangement between two families, and then it evolved into love, and we started to put contracts onto love. Things got a bit messed up along the way, and it set people up for not only disappointment, but also that sense of failure, that if they were not able to meet that contract and keep that commitment, that somehow they have failed, they've broken a promise. And what that can do if it's not revised is that sense of not having fulfilled that commitment, that sense of failure or disappointment could still be active in your subconscious and affecting your relationships now, or possibly affecting your ability to enter into another committed relationship, because in a way you've lost trust. And there may be a feeling like you can't trust yourself, and that's going to be manifested as not being able to trust others. So if you find yourself not able to trust others, pull it back into I am. So I am unable to trust myself. Now, why might that be? Because you may have made a commitment in the past that you were not able to fulfill, and that may still be active. So I wanted to offer a way for you to free yourself from any guilt or shame or remorse or regret or disappointment that you may still be holding in consciousness relating to a previous relationship that was committed that you were not able to fulfill. The way we do this is where we do everything with this work. We do it in imagination. If you have been married and you have been divorced, I would recommend that you go back and revise the commitment that you made to that person to be as long as you were married in reality. So for example, let's say you got married at 25 and you married the love of your life at 25, and you married that person with every intention that you would be spending the rest of your life together. So you made a commitment to that person and they did the same to you, but we're working with you. So you made a commitment, a lifelong commitment, that you would be married to this person till death do us part. Now, let's say you enjoyed 15 years of marriage together, at which time you went in different directions and the marriage was no longer feasible at that point, and you both made the decision to divorce. Now, if you haven't revised that, that broken commitment remains in consciousness. That contract, that broken contract remains in consciousness. That can affect how you feel about yourself now, and how you feel about others now, and how you feel about marriage now, and how you feel about commitment now. It will be affecting you, your reality, in some way now because it remains active. And in consciousness, there is no time and space. All things are happening now. All memories are happening now if they remain unrevised. Now, you don't have to be married to do this. You could have made some other commitment. But if you've made any kind of promise to anybody that you were not able to fulfill, use this process. And that is, you go back to the moment in your imagination, you play it out exactly as it happened in your memory, but this time what you're doing is you're recreating the memory so that the commitment that you made is for as long as you were together in reality. So if you got married at 25, you would go back to that moment of your wedding and you would play that memory out, and you would imagine saying to them, I commit myself to you for the next 15 years. And you would hear them making that same commitment. I commit to you, I'm not sure what you say, I commit to you for the next 15 years. Instead of till death do us part, you say for the next 15 years. So you take the time that you were together and then you go back to the original memory and you insert that time in reality into the memory so that the commitment that you are making is the commitment that you were able to keep. So therefore, when you decided to walk away from that commitment, it's not a failure because you only committed to those 15 years. Because remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between what it sees in reality and what it sees in imagination. If you tell the brain that this is what happened using your imagination, the brain goes, oh, okay. And then you play that out enough times and that's what impresses your subconscious and then gets expressed in your reality now. How that shows up in reality as a reflection now, we don't know. We don't have to know. All we're doing is working with our consciousness, and we're healing from any broken promises that we've made or others have made to us. You can also do this with a promise that somebody else made to you and they were not able to fulfill that promise. You can actually revise them, only making the promise to whatever they made it in reality. I'm hoping this makes sense because you're actually working with reality and your past memories at the same time. But what this does, it cancels the original memory out, and with that it cancels the state of consciousness out that you can't make commitment or you can't trust yourself or others, or that marriage doesn't last or whatever it is. So you go back and you take whatever promise you made and you revise it to fit in with what reality played itself out as. So this is really important if you have been married and you have been divorced, because marriage is a contract for life and divorce is a breaking of that contract, and it is a very powerful state of consciousness. Divorce is up there with the loss of a loved one. It's a big loss in life, and it can actually have detrimental effects on your future if it doesn't get revised, because you're holding on to that state of consciousness, not knowing it, but it will always remain with you unless you revise that. And you want to be free from any guilt or remorse or regret or feelings like you've somehow failed yourself or others because you weren't able to live up to a contract that is almost unrealistic. I mean, it doesn't have to be unrealistic. You can absolutely be married. But of course, a lot of us don't know this going into a marriage. We don't know law of assumption. We're actually marrying into what's familiar. And if we've experienced any kind of dysfunction in our families or our upbringings, we're going to be marrying into that. And that's going to be playing out in our relationships because there's no way to escape yourself and everything is a reflection. So if you haven't done this work prior to getting married, which most people haven't, then you're going to be setting yourself up for divorce or a breakup or some kind of something in the relationship. You cannot outrun yourself with this stuff. But you can heal and you can revise and you can move on, and you do not have to live with this feeling of guilt or remorse or loss or disappointment or feelings like you can never trust again. You can absolutely move beyond it. But I have found when I've gone back and I revised any commitment that I've made to anybody, that it shifts my reality now. And I, one, feel better, but then also it's like a weight off my shoulders because I'm no longer carrying this feeling like I've failed, because I haven't, because I've revised the memory so that the contract only lasted to whatever it did in reality. That's it. That's what you're doing. So if you were married for 15 years and you go back and revise the memory that the contract you set up with this person was only for 15 years, which it is because it was in reality, so you go back and revise that, You have had a successful marriage. You have lived that contract successfully. You haven't failed, you haven't done anything wrong, and now you're no longer carrying that state of consciousness feeling like you have, and you can actually move into a new relationship, if you haven't already, from a very whole place, a trusting place, a loving place, an excited place. You're not in fear that it's going to happen again because you've revised it, you've done the work with it. So I hope that helps. If you have experienced any broken promises, whether you've broken the promise or somebody else has broken the promise, then go back and revise the moment at which you made the promise or they made the promise, and revise it to whatever the time frame was in reality. I know you're really working with imagination and reality and memories and future imaginings and all sorts of things, but this is the way you create a future unlike anything you've experienced, which is unlike your past. This is how you do it, and this is also how you let go of the hurt and the disappointment of the past. You do not need to carry it into your future. So I hope that helps. I hope that inspires you to give it a go and play with it, test it out for yourself, like everything, and report your success stories in the comments below. I love reading your comments. Thank you so much. Please remember, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you, assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you and for me too. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I'd love to have you, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.